Plant collard greens once and harvest for years, growing and propagating tree collards and extending the life of your collard greens. We grow several cultivars of Brassica Oleracea to diversify our harvest and extend our growing seasons. One of our favorite perennial edible plants is the tree collard, and if you stick around to the end, I'll even show you how easy it is to propagate tree collards. We grow a lot of collard greens, and because we need to maximize the use of our time and money, we grow collard greens that keep on giving for years. Yesterday, my daughter told her younger brother that he had to eat his veggies because they were limited. I asked her what she meant, and she said, well, once they're picked, they don't come back. This then led to a whole conversation about perennial edible plants versus annual and even biennial vegetables and greens. Because we're on a tight teacher's budget, most of our plants and fruit trees have been purchased small or started from cuttings. This means that it's taken us 4 to 5 years before we've really gotten production on our fruit trees. That's why we focused on having perennial edible plants such as perennial vegetables and perennial greens. So while our fruit trees have been growing to a productive stage, we've been able to eat from a perennial garden and fruit forest. We still grow a lot of annuals, but perennials just make more sense both economically and when it comes to the time we spend growing our food. Do you have a favorite perennial green? If you do, please leave us a comment and tell us about it so that we can add it to our food forest. One of our favorite perennial greens is the tree collard, also known as tree kale or walking stick cabbage. But the biennial collard greens are also up there as some of our most productive greens. Tree collard and collard greens come from the same family, Brassica Oleracea. Collard greens are biennials grown as annuals, while tree collards are cultivars grown as perennials. While collard greens usually grow to 2 feet, which is about 60 centimeters, tree collards grow to about 10 to 12 feet, which is around 3 to 4 meters, and sometimes even more. Tree collards grow best in zone 7 to 11, depending on the variety, and some varieties you actually have to protect in zone 7. Collard trees such as this one is a true perennial. This is a 3-year-old collard tree that we grew from a cutting. It's this small because we regularly take new cuttings to make more. This is a purple tree collard that we grew from seed. It's grown in a pot and it has a tendency of falling over, so we've staked it. But next time it rains, we're gonna move this to the food forest in a part shade location because right now it's growing in full sun and it's just not thriving as much as our other tree collards that are grown in part shade. If you're up north, you can give tree collards lots of sun, but if you're in the deep south, Florida or California, it'll do better with some afternoon shade. These 2-year-old collards are not actually tree collards, but I'm treating them as if they are. Usually they grow to 2 feet and die back as annuals, but you can extend their lives if you treat them as perennial tree collards. Here in Florida, collard greens struggle in the summer heat, but by planting them in pot sun, we've been able to keep them going. We originally grew these as winter plants in our turmeric bed, then moved them over here below the everbearing mulberry when the turmeric started popping up again in the spring. You can see that we have 3 collard greens growing right here, all 2-year-old plants, and they are flourishing. Here are a few of our first-year collard greens. Once again, we've grown them on top of our turmeric. We're treating them just like a collard tree, and all we do is just pick a couple of leaves at a time, just like that. Leave the rest, let it grow, and it'll send out more shoots from the top. Look at how beautiful these are. Perfect for dinner or for chicken food. We don't use sprays or chemicals for plants, and here in zone 9B, the collards, both collard greens and the tree collards, are some of the most pest-resistant plants. Of course, we get the occasional pest damage, but we just pull off the leaves and feed these damaged leaves to our chickens. As for fertilizing your tree collards and your collard greens, we add compost regularly, and that's all they need to thrive. There are many ways to use tree collards and collard greens, and you can use them in any way in which you normally use collard greens: steaming, boiling, or sauteing, They can be used in soups, stews, stir fries, salads, or as wraps. Only your imagination is the limit. Between the tree collards and these color plants, we have a steady supply of collard greens all year long, both for ourselves and for the chickens. To propagate tree collards and make more collard trees, all you need to do is cut the stem and put it in the ground. No growing hormone needed. But I have found from trial and error and some failures that it works best for this existing plant if I cut above where you have some leaves branching out. So I left the leaf here, and there's also a leaf coming down here. So I want to cut right about here, where there's enough of the original stem to grow a new plant, but where there's also enough material for the existing plant to keep on growing. So I'm going to cut right here. Now I need to strip off the leaves. Yep, you can see it. It's going to strip off the leaves, and of course this is going to be dinner for us. See right there. I'm going to strip off one more right here. See, we have 1, 2, 3 leaves that have been pulled off, and that should be enough for me to just stick this in the ground and make it grow. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a spot that I know I will be watering often. I have some seedlings right here, so I'm going to plant it in front of that. I'm just going to stick it in the ground just like this and make sure that I water off. I'm going to make sure to give some water. This is rainwater, the best thing for all the plants. And since I have seedlings over here, I know I'll be watering this area plenty, so I won't forget about it. And when you have a food forest, it is very easy to forget about small plants. So I just like to plant things that need to be watered often together. Here it is in the ground, ready to grow. And let's see, over here you can see one that's been in the ground for about a month. It is established. It got some bug damage, but I'll pull those off and give it to the chickens. Make sure that your cutting is well watered until it's established. When you take a cutting from a tree collard, it also makes the original tree collard branch out. You can see right down here where I took the other cutting, it is now bushing out and giving me more collard greens to use. Right here we have a small purple tree collard that we grew from a cutting from a plant that we grew from a seed. And I'm going to plant this one over here in the food forest as well. This gets sun, but not full sun. Let's see if we can get it planted. I'm going to dig a hole right here in front of the hibiscus next to my trees because I know I water them a lot. There's a lot of composted leaves. I'll dig it down where, oh, look at it. Yeah, a worm down there. I don't know. Kill it. Let's see, that's a good spot to plant the new collard tree. Here's the cutting out of the pot. You can see the roots on it. Beautiful, strong roots. And I've got some soil from the pot that it grew in. I like to transplant new plants with some of the existing soil from the original pot. That just helps prevent transplant shock. Yeah, right here. A bit more. Our soil is mostly compost. And then of course we gotta water it. Some rainwater. And that is it. Hopefully it'll grow strong here. So we can make more plants together with this one over here, the one we have in a pot, and this little one here. I'm just trying to get this area established with perennial plants, and I left this tree collard in the pot over here so I could move it around until I found the spot where it was thriving the most, and that is where I'm now putting them in the ground. Let's add a tag to this one just so I know what I've planted. Purple colored tree. If you want to see how we make these tags, I'll put a link up for you guys. I have learned through my own mistakes that it's very important to have permanent plant tags, especially once you have a lot of plants, because in the beginning you can remember what kind of plants you planted, but after a while some of them start looking the same, especially if you have several cultivars from one family, such as these color trees and the regular colored. So I put down a permanent plant tag wherever I can. Tree collards can be hard to find locally, at least it was for us here in Florida, but we found all of our tree color varieties and our seeds on Etsy. Just make sure that you read the reviews and don't be afraid to buy cuttings from Etsy as long as you read the reviews. We started our collard trees from cuttings that we got mailed from a small grower on Etsy. It's one of our favorite ways to get new varieties into a food forest, and we like to support small growers and local growers. This purple tree collard that we grew from seed was grown from these tiny itty bitty seeds. I found a seed packet and they actually came from the broccoli tree farm, so we can definitely recommend them. And no, we're not going to get anything for recommending them. We just want to help you guys out because it's a jungle out there when you try to figure out where to get your tree colored seed from. If you want to learn more about growing perennial plants and edible perennial plants, check out some of the many varieties of edible greens we grow in our video 20 edible greens in our front yard garden. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and support the Dancing Treetops Family Farm by subscribing, sharing, and saving this video. If you want to know how to make more plants, check out our playlist, Making More Plants, where we have lots of videos showing you how to make more plants out of the plants you already have or by growing from seeds. If you have any questions or comments, you know what to do. Thank you for watching, and thank you for making the world a little greener.